And we're back, and we're going to talk about everybody's favorite topic, taxes. Here to talk about sales taxes specifically, Tony Gagliardi from the National Federation of Independent Business. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, and we actually have a small business owner who collects and remits sales taxes to the state. Jon Kamm, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
And you have a business in Brighton?
Yes.
What do you do in Brighton?
I am a small business specialist for computers. I deliver computers, set them up, do anything a small business needs. I don't just work in Brighton. Most of my work's actually in the Denver area and all throughout Colorado.
Okay, so here's why we're here today. And let me see, I got to set this up because we're going to run short on time. There was this Supreme Court decision that now kind of opened the floodgates for Colorado to be able to reach outside its borders and require out-of-state online retailers to pay state sales taxes in Colorado. So fine, they're issuing rules, they're setting up for that. But they've also issued these other kind of odd rules that affect in-state retailers that do business around the state. And here's where I'm confused, and Tony, you're going to have to help me here. My understanding is that for several years now, we have been working pretty steadily in Colorado towards simplifying our sales tax system. And it appears that the Department of Revenue just issued rules that dramatically complicates our sales tax system. Explain what they did.
Well, okay, before I jump into that, we've had a coalition that's been working for about 3 or 4 years, and that's the Coalition to Simplify Colorado Sales Tax. And through that coalition, we got the Sales Tax Simplification Legislative Task Force that is examining ways to simplify Colorado sales tax. Well, now because of a Supreme Court decision, the Department of Revenue decided let's not lose out possibly on the holiday sales tax. Let's jump right in, change the rules, and demand on December 1st that businesses now start collecting, not only out-of-state businesses start collecting and remitting, but we're going to entirely change the rules for in-state businesses to collect and remit. So here's what we need the Department of Revenue to do. Stop where they are. They've already come out and said we'll give a delay until March 31st, but we're still going to make the rule effective December 1. We believe the Department of Revenue right now should stop where they are and work with the business community to do outreach so small businesses can understand the complicated sourcing rule change that DOR is putting forward. Until the state simplifies the filing system and with a single point of remittance, we're always going to have problems. Colorado is one of the worst states in the United States to collect and remit sales tax.
All right, let's talk to a guy who collects and remits sales taxes. By the way, you wrote a great op-ed about this. There's this really great online journalism project, CompleteColorado.com. And thanks for doing that.
Yeah, well,
all right, so let me. So for years, you are in Brighton, but you might sell hardware to somebody, and you use an example, Sheridan, Colorado, so down in the South Metro, which is a home rule municipality.
Right.
And for years, what would happen is you would only collect and remit taxes that you, the jurisdiction you're in, and Brighton share in common, which would be
common taxing
would
district.
be the state sales tax, RTD, and the
cultural district.
So a special district tax.
Special district, and yeah.
So fair enough, fairly simple. But now, starting December 1st, you're going to have to collect and remit City of Sheridan sales tax, Arapahoe County sales tax, and you're going to have to get a Sheridan sales tax license.
Exactly.
And because they're a home rule municipality, remit directly to them. Have I got that right? Yeah.
So instead of going to 4 different taxing groups, as I call them, state, city, and I'm going to potentially have up to 683 different taxing districts that I have to track. Now, realistically,
we got to back up for a second. 600. We need to explain this. There are a lot of local governments in Colorado,
absolutely,
and a lot of them collect sales taxes. The state collects sales taxes for some counties and some cities.
Right.
But then we have around 250 home rule municipalities in the state.
I think 73 home rule municipalities. I think there are, and of those, my business isn't going to deal with all of them.
You actually wrote out, based on 18 years of being in business, how many
Right.
taxing entities you think you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, and I didn't really realize that there were 683 potential ones that I could be looking at.
Okay.
And so
basically, you're going to have to start tracking all of them, and you're actually going to have to start. You're going to have to get sales tax licenses for the home rule municipalities.
that's correct.
And you're going to have to remit directly to them.
That's correct.
All right. Why, Tony? Why would the Department of Revenue issue rules that are going to tell John that he now has to start collecting sales taxes for all these jurisdictions at the same time as the legislature has already basically said we want to simplify this? Well, what's the conflict? What?
Because it can.
Yeah.
Again, I think it goes back to the attempt to collect the holiday, not miss out on the holiday. I think the Department of Revenue, for some reason, really does believe they're not getting their taxes, their state taxes. But to back up what John said, Department of Revenue in these databases that businesses use has always relied on a zip code.
Right.
Well, around our state, you can have a zip code, but within that one zip code, you could have 6 or 7 different taxing authorities that you're going to have to keep track of now. I've had accountants, CPAs say it is an impossibility for a business to get up and running and be in compliance by this December 1st implementation date.
I think it's important that and tell me if I got this right, that if you're a brick and mortar retailer and people come to you and buy a product at your store, nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
You continue to
Right.
collect just the sales tax
correct.
for your jurisdiction, which could
Right.
be the city, the county, the special district, and
Exactly.
the state. Right. But for any business in the state that ships something inside the state to anywhere in the state, they're now going to have to start collecting all the sales taxes for every taxing jurisdiction at the destination. Do I have that right?
Yes, sir.
It's my understanding that they don't have to do that for the home rule cities, though. They are just requiring the external companies to remit just with the state, as I understand it. So they only have to deal with just the state and the state collected jurisdictions.
Okay. So, well, tell us, this isn't a done deal yet. There's a hearing, right?
There's a hearing.
Tell us about the hearing. When is this?
The hearing was originally set for October 30th, and then because DOR said that they had missed some requirement in their own rulemaking, the hearing is now November 30th, but the rule goes into effect December 1st.
So they're going to have a hearing to talk about the rule that they're going to put into effect the next day. Is
Right.
essentially
Well,
what we're
that's
talking
the
about.
emergency rule.
Okay.
That's the emergency rule under the Administrative Procedures Act. Evidently, they believe they can take
Okay.
this step.
So basically, if you're a small businessman and you're concerned about this, you should show up at DOR on
Absolutely.
November 30th and talk about this. All right,
absolutely.
Tony, thank you. John, thanks for coming down and doing this. Come back next week and check us out. And if you want to visit Independence Institute, it's thinkfreedom.org. Thanks.